2, 1, go!
By the time I noticed something was wrong, the entire city was infested with zombies.
Hello, welcome to this latest episode of the Electronic Eggs podcast. Joining me this time, I have two new guests with me. So I'll let them introduce themselves. So first off, Thomas, why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh, hello. My name is Thomas. I am all the way here from Germany, at least acoustically, and I'm a games journalist for a big old German print magazine, and I'm also a lecturer at university for game history, for game design, and all such things.
Excellent, great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Phil. Oh no, you're welcome. And Phil.
Hi, I'm Phil. I'm a little more closer to home in Newcastle. Still licking my wounds off last night's drumming from Barcelona. Has been a bit sad. I'm a graphic designer, and I was one of the founder members of Maximum Power podcast that closed its doors a couple of years ago. But we ran for a good few years, and obviously that's how me and you met, Chris. We had many happy nights recording that, so looking forward to and almost getting back into the saddle tonight with a new friend.
No, it's great to have you both. So you're both joining me tonight to talk about Resident Evil, specifically Resident Evils 1, 2, 3, and if we get time, Code Veronica. I'm just thinking it might run a bit long if we commit to that. So I don't want to commit to it just in case, but we will put it there in the back pocket. But I also do want to cover a little bit of Requiem because I think we've all played it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Because I do really want to talk about that in context with the original 3 because it does tie in very well to the middle game in that series. So yeah, so let's kick it off then really with a bit of a roundtable. So did you all get Resident Evil, the first game, around the time it came out, or were you sort of a bit later to the party when a bit word of mouth started going? Or Phil, what about you?
Well, so I think as we've discussed before, I wasn't an early adopter of PlayStation, having the N64 first. So it wasn't until like later on that I got into PlayStation, got into it quite heavily. And Resident Evil wasn't the first survival horror that I played. I started out with the Silent Hill series, and I played Resident Evil 2 on the PC, and was like, "Oh, that's quite good," but I didn't feel it was as good as Silent Hill, and so it was kind of like I was kind of like slowly into what Resident Evil, how important Resident Evil is to me now. Probably my favorite series of all time. But yeah, it was kind of like a slow. I kind of knew all of the almost like the cliches of Resident Evil before I even played it. And to be honest, I probably only really got into it when Resident Evil 4 came out. Is like it really clicked with you. Strangely enough, Resident Evil 4 is not my favorite of the series, like Resident Evil 2 is. But it was because I went back to that after enjoying Resident Evil 4 so much. So that's kind of like how I kind of really came into the series, and now I'm kind of a bit obsessive compulsive with the series. It's kind of taken over my life a bit.
Cool. Thomas, what about you?
Well, the thing is, I had the PlayStation pretty much from Europe day one. And the first thing I did, or second thing I did after playing Ridge Racer, I got my console modded for import games. And so my first encounter with Resident Evil was not actually the game, but it was Street Fighter Zero from Japan. Because did you ever play the Japanese Street Fighter Zero?
Not of the first one. I played the Japanese version of 3, but not the first
All
one.
right. Because the first one has an option that shows you preview videos of upcoming games, and they had one on for a Street Fighter the movie game, and there is one about Biohazard back in the day.
Oh, cool.
So that was lots of FMV, lots of game scenes. Had this semi-cheesy J-pop song, and we were all, "Oh my god, what is this? Why does this look so amazing and so dark and everything?" So, of course, when it came to the US, we had to import it right away. First, a friend of mine got it. I got it maybe a week later, and we were both pretty much for the next couple of weeks completely absorbed into that whole in the mansion in the game, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I got my PlayStation in '97, so I was a couple of years late, and so I picked it up obviously with Wipeout 2097, Ridge Racer, and Resident Evil was the first sort of single player game that I got with it, and yeah, I couldn't believe how much I liked this game because I'm very squeamish. I don't like horror movies. For a start, I hate horror movies. But yeah, playing Resident Evil, for me, it was just like an evolution of the point and click adventure games that I've been playing for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
Interesting.
this is exactly the sort of game I want to play. It's that, there's that same sort of, puzzle mechanics and using items and things like that, which was very LucasArts, in terms of their point and click adventure games. And
So,
yeah,
so I wonder, did you play Alone in the Dark before?
No, I did play it later when someone said,
Ah.
there's this game called Alone in the Dark that you might like if
Okay.
you liked Resident Evil. And I went back and played, and I did like it quite a lot, actually.
Mm.
But again, that one again felt like another point-and-click adventure game for me.
Mhm.
New Nightmare is the one that I really got into. To be honest, Alone in the Dark, the only one I have played is New Nightmare. And I really liked that. I kind of felt like that was closer to, I think, strangely, I thought that was kind of closer to Silent Hill than what Resident Evil was. I mean, there was a bit more crossover, but it kind of a bit more like it was a bit more. Well, it's got like a lot more Cthulhu influence and Lovecraftian and stuff like that. Yeah, it's definitely a more Lovecraftian game.
So help me out quickly. New Nightmare, that's the fourth one, right? The one on PS2?
Yes.
So it was on
and
PlayStation
Dreamcast
1 as
as
well, and Dreamcast. And
Yeah, but
PC.
okay, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah, so I owned it on PS1, which apparently is still like the best version to play.
Is
especially now, like it's hard to play on PC because obviously it's so outdated.
Yeah.
The Dreamcast was, I think it was kind of like a port, as was the PS2 version was a port of the PS1 version. I've always just played, and I'm pretty sure the one that you buy on PSN is just the PS1 version.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So
one of the PlayStation 1 classics, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I bought that not long ago and played it, and I was like, it seems to be a lot harder than I remember it. I really got into that game. So it didn't really like. I kind of, after reading reviews and that, I never really thought that the other Alone in the Darks really kind of lived up, especially ones after, kind of like always missed the mark. So I never really got into the series as a whole. And then I just kind of like, I can't get with the art style of the originals.
Yeah,
it's very abstract, yeah.
Yeah, they are very hard to go back to. I played it on PC in about 98, so it was old hat by then, and it was looking a bit rough in 98 when I played it. But I did enjoy it quite a lot.
I must say, though, I think the current one is pretty good.
Is that the one with the guy from Stranger Things?
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, I've got that. I think I've got that on PSN. I think it came out free, didn't it?
It has very, very good atmosphere, I think. And it shines on a good OLED TV. It's a beautiful game.
Oh, cool. I'll definitely give it a go.
Yeah, I should probably give that a go. If it was on PS Plus, I've definitely got it then. So I will have to check it out. Thomas, just quickly. So you were playing the American version of Resident Evil. So the German version, I'm guessing, would have been censored.
It was a bit censored, not too badly, actually. What they did is they cut the FMV sequences mostly. So stuff like the blood in the intro was gone. I think they've turned it into black and white from color. And one, of course, famous thing they dropped is that first zombie encounter in the hallway. They also cut that scene a little bit with a head, you know.
Yeah, well, that's the same on the PAL version anyway, isn't it?
Is it? Is that the...
Yeah, I'm
Probably
pretty
the
sure
same
that
version
doesn't...
for all the regions then.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the head drop isn't on the PAL version. I
you
may be
see,
wrong,
I've
and people can call me out.
recently
But
Yeah, I can't remember playing the original one properly now because I've been playing director's cut so much since
yeah,
then.
because it's definitely gone in the DS version. Because I played that recently, and it didn't have the dead drop. So, and I think that is pretty much a port of the PlayStation.
Of the PAL version as well.
Yeah. Well, it'd be cut anyway because it's a Nintendo.
Yeah, true.
So, but I'm pretty certain that my PAL versions don't have it. It's only me, like, because I've got like stupidly, I bought so many different versions of the original Resident Evils now. So it's like it's like the Japanese ones have it. I only have one American original, which is the Resident Evil 2. So I can't really comment, but I'm pretty certain it's the same as the German. The German version will be pretty much the same as the the cuts will be the same. The cuts will be the same on the PAL. So
I do remember reading a lot about a lot of games being cut in Germany compared to
there's a lot of censorship, isn't there?
Especially back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. In the 90s, I'd see it in the magazines, and they'd say, "Oh yeah, the German version has been cut with this," and I was, "Oh wow, I wonder why."
You know, one interesting thing about the German version, by the way, you know, back in these days, there was always this. Everybody's afraid of if they would put it on the index. So, are you familiar with that German index system?
No.
Was a big problem for fans in the 90s and 80s. So if a game is put on the index, it can't be sold to minors, but it also can't be in any way advertised. And included back in the day magazine reviews and even putting it on the shelf in a store. So basically, if a game is indexed like that, it's commercially essentially dead. So you would have to go to the store, want to buy Resident Evil, and then they have to fish below the counter if they have one. They want to see your papers if you are older than 18, and then you could buy it. But I did it, and that
so was Manhunt. So was games like Manhunt indexed.
Oh, Manhunt was so hard indexed. Though there's actually two index versions. There is the lighter one. We can even still buy it. There's a harder one for Manhunt, for example, where it's even forbidden to sell it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I knew because I remember when that came out, and that had a lot of content. I think in Australia you couldn't get it, and I heard that, like, and I'm sure I'd heard something about Germany being either it was either hard to get a hold of or you couldn't.
You couldn't at all, basically. Yeah. So I remember back then when I was traveling to the UK for a hands-on event for something, all my colleagues told me, "Oh, please get me a Manhunt from the UK stores."
That's cool. Yeah, no, I
did a bit of research now, and so Resident Evil 1 was supposed to be put on the index, but it was declined in the end, and it kept being sold, luckily.
Good. I mean, it's kind of, yeah, I mean, it's Resident Evil is like such a, it's kind of almost strange to think that now that it was kind of considered like scary or controversial or anything like that, because it's so it's like, it's so hokey, like, and it's like, sorry?
The series still is so hokey.
Yeah, of course it is. It's so silly. It's got like a lot of, because I'm unlike you, Chris. I'm like a big horror fan, and I kind of see a lot of like Lucio Fulci kind of influences on it. Like, and he's like the kind of not even like the classic giallos, like, you know, the Argentos and stuff like that. Like Fulci stuff is like a lot more like hokey, yeah, to be fair. Like, I'm seeing you got like zombie flesh eaters and stuff like that, and I kind of saw, obviously there's a lot of Romero influences, but like,
yeah, that's why
I really like
Romero really movies. So
yeah, but like they really like over the but there's like Fulci's like that again, that it gets like really silly, And I kind of going back and playing the old, even like the way that the everybody like talks about how bad the script is and how bad the acting is. That's kind of, you get that a lot in Fulci films.
Yeah.
I don't think they're mean to be, but obviously because it's like some of them are even like they're dubbed, but the actors are actually speaking English anyway. Even though it's like and there's like Italian actors and stuff like that. So it's like, so have you ever seen like Garth Marenghi's Dark Place?
I sadly didn't.
All right. Well, if you ever, if any of the listeners and that, yeah. So if any of the listeners, well, you definitely need to go and watch it because it's hilarious. But if any of our listeners know what that is, that's kind of like what Fulci feels like at the same time. And that's kind of like going back to it now. And I kind of probably think that's why I'm such a huge fan of like the Resident Evil like originals, is because I see a lot of that in it, and a lot of that kind of influence, not just the Romero influence, but like the Fulci kind of stuff.
That's cool. Yeah, like I've never seen his stuff, so for me it was the Romero thing, the Romero influence for me that I could see whilst playing. Like I say, that is my level of horror, is Romero, and I can't really break out of that. It's like anything more than that, and I'm like, I can't deal with that. That's too much.
So, if I may ask for a second, so when you played Resident Evil for the first time, how old were you guys?
So I was 17 when I first played Resident Evil.
Same
as me. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Phil?
I think I was probably about 18.
Okay, so
but that'll have been in like 1999. I played it, so it's like quite a while after it came out. Because I was like 15 when it first came out, but like I say that I probably would have gotten it at that point, but I was like N64, so I mean it was quite good, to be fair, coming to the PlayStation a bit later, because it was kind of established, and also that there was so much good word of mouth about like what was the people just jumped on and went, oh, this is the best game ever kind of thing, and there's those stuff that like hadn't led the test of time, so you kind of got to filter out like some of the crap and just focus on what was amazing.
Yeah, there was a lot of crap.
Resident Evil series being like probably one of the biggest like genres on the platform.
It was really big, yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. So should we go back to how? So the game then was made obviously by Capcom. It came out 30 years ago on the 22nd of March in Japan. So yeah, this is such a long time ago now that I can't even believe it. When I saw that, I was like, how is it 30 years? So I can still remember going to the shop and buying Resident Evil. Like, it wasn't that long ago. I can't believe it. But yeah, this one was so this game for me, when I completed it, I was really shocked to see that it was I saw the director's name as Shinji Mikami, because I remember playing through Goof Troop a few years before that on the SNES and seeing his name in that as well. And the thing is, because I just remember seeing this name when I was a kid. I'm playing Goof Troop, and then seeing it in this horror game a bit later.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my god, that's from the same person who made this really cool puzzle adventure goofy game.
yeah.
But when you play Goof Troop, I have played it recently because it came out again on the Disney Afternoon Classics that got re-released. And there is some Resident Evil feel to it in terms of the way that like some of the puzzling in it, which is just like not the graphic violence or anything, but it's just the puzzling element of it. And I remember as a kid really loving Goof Troop, but I didn't.
It was an amazing game.
Yeah, but I hadn't played it for years until, so I never associated it like with Resident Evil at all until recently. I'm playing it now and being like, oh my god, yeah, there is a through line here. It's so weird. But understandable that, it was obviously just the sort of game he wanted to play, he wanted to make, but had, he was given a license and had to work within the confines of that license. But it is a very, very good game, and you can see early Resident Evil through that game. So I do suggest people go and play that. Actually, it's not available on anything other than Switch and Switch 2, though, is it? That version? It's literally. It wasn't on the other. They didn't update the older versions of it, did they? It was. I think it was
Not as
just
I can tell, at least.
Yeah, which is a
I'm
shame.
sure
But
that
it is a
I'm
fantastic play again.
I wouldn't imagine it's hard for any nefarious
Yes, if you want
Google
to do it
search.
if you want to do it that way, there is a way of doing it, obviously with a ROM. But yeah, it is such a good game. But yeah, so Resident Evil though, I mean, what was it like? Like I've already said, for me, it was that feeling of being like a evolution of the point and click adventure for me. What was it that drew you to it, Phil? What were the gameplay hooks that really got you?
It wasn't necessarily the gameplay. It was it was the story. Like being such a huge horror fan, and loving anything kind of macabre, and the kind of like it was the lonely mansion. I think it kind of had give me vibes of like Splathouse and stuff like that I like always loved back in the day. Of being like that kind of mansion in the middle of the woods, and it was just the overall atmosphere, and it was the sense that, you know, there was like intimidation, but also like the need to progress. And the kind of the one thing I really loved, and I know like a lot of people hate about it, and subsequently, like obviously Capcom changed things later on. It was kind of like management. Like you couldn't just have all your stuff on you, and it didn't matter where you were in the mansion because you always had a solution to it. It was the fact that maybe you would like decided, oh, actually I can't carry this, I need to carry some ammo or some life or something like that, so I'm gonna have to leave this key item behind because I don't think I need it just yet. Or you get something really early on, like when you push a statue off or something and you get the ruby, and you're probably going to use that for like quite a while. But it's the way that you kind of could store your weapons, or store your ammo, or store your life, you store key items and stuff like that, and then it would all kind of the connected nature of the whole mansion kind of made it feel like a real place.
Yeah. I do remember the first time I opened a second chest. So obviously I'd used the chest previously and then go to the next chest, and I assumed there'd be nothing in it, because it's in a different part of the building. And I opened it up and all my stuff's there. I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
I just assumed it was like another box that I could use for that part of the mansion, rather than.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of like you can use that as a mechanic in itself, because you can go like, I know I need to get to the other side of the mansion, or I know I've got a boss in subsequent playthroughs anyway. You've got a boss battle to have, but you need to be across the other side of the mansion. So you go like, well, I don't necessarily need to take that with us, because by the time I get over there, I'll have the chest door open. So you can kind of use it as tactically as well, which I think helps like later playthroughs. You can kind of go like, well, I put this here now, and then I can carry this with me. So it has that kind of like, obviously because obviously how important the item management is in the game.
Yeah, great. Thomas, what about you with regards to what really hooked you in?
It's been similar. I think really that the way I could explore the mansion was really, really engaging, I think. So it was really, I played that game, I went to school, I thought about the rooms I could visit next when I got home again. It really took over life for a bit. And I mean, of course, the first draw was, it was the violence, because we haven't seen something like that before in a console game. But after that, it was really just the exploration, I think. However, one thing that was also big, I think, was just this showing it to friends and look at what my game does. Have you ever seen something like that? That was a big deal. I remember this one night. It was a friend's birthday party. It was outside in I think in late spring. It was pretty warm already. We were just sitting outside. We carried the TV outside. I brought my PlayStation with Resident Evil. We put it on, and everybody was huddled around the TV, and the dogs jump out of the window, and everybody is going, break time.
I think you have hit the nail on the head, like, because I think the game in itself was so special at that point because of how big a leap it was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think like when you're thinking about like PlayStation 2, like from from like Mega Drive, Super Nintendo to PlayStation. It was just such a thing that you wanted to show people because it was so fresh and so it kind of the leap that it felt like we took in gaming and stuff, and knowing that you had something like a Wipeout or a Resident Evil or a Ridge Racer, or you know what I mean, those games that you kind of like you wanted to share those experiences.
Yeah, and that's the thing with me. When I was working weekends at the time, and my boss, who I assumed was ancient, but looking back, he was probably only in his late 20s. He was talking about Resident Evil, and I'd never heard adults talking about video games before.
Mhm.
And I remember him saying to me, "Have you played Resident Evil?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, have you?" You know, sort of thinking, "What? Surely you haven't either. You're like close to death, surely." And yeah, and he was just talking about it and was saying how he started with Chris and then decided that wasn't for him because he didn't have a gun, so did a Jill playthrough because he had a gun. And I was like, oh right, I started with Jill, but not. I just thought, oh, I'll probably play with her first, and then because I assumed that she would be the easier character to get used to. You know, like in a lot of games, you have a character that's like the one that, you know, like Princess Peach in Super Mario Brothers 2, for example, right? She's the easy player. Right?
Yeah, Maria in Castlevania Rondo of Blood.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And you play and I was assuming because this game, you know, is from Japan, I assumed they would be doing the same thing, giving you the sort of the easier character to ease you into the game if you chose the female protagonist instead. So I just chose her, and I hadn't played as Chris at that point, and it was only when my boss at work said that, and I was like, oh, I'm glad I did not start with Chris because that would have really made things a lot harder for me. And I was already quite scared playing it, so I can't imagine how scared I would have been without a gun.
It's not like it's hours and hours and hours until you get a gun.
No, it's
though.
not. But the way he said it, I was, you know, I literally started, I think, about that week, and I just remember thinking, oh God, I don't think I can manage 5 minutes without a gun.
Yeah, it is a kind of like, I really love that about, like, I mean, I've always loved that Resident Evil has, when it is at its best, it is with multiple characters. Because it gives it that extra, you know, it gives you longevity out of it. But I loved that the fact in the first one, it was that kind of like, it was a way to kind of give you a separate difficulty, but actually make it feel fresh when you went back to play it either harder, or you played it harder and then were like, oh, I'll play through as Jill and stuff. I think the first time the good first few times that I played it, I played as Jill anyway. I don't know, I just thought, oh, I'll just play as Jill. Funny enough, I play most of the time when I play Remake, I play as Chris. Because I just think that character model of Chris is so cool. Chris is the boy. I mean, I love Chris. Like, I think Chris Redfield's amazing. Definitely was like
in video gaming. Those Pythons.
It's kind of like it's who do I swoon for? Even being a heterosexual man, I still swoon for the guys in Resident Evil.
They do have an appeal, don't they? The male characters. That's the thing, though, with that series, the males are the more sexualized characters than the females.
Absolutely,
in the Resident Evil series.
And look at Leon.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Leon is. He is definitely a heartthrob.
I mean, I tell you one thing: when Requiem came out, and I saw that my students made some pretty spicy fan art of him.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he's very. I've seen some fan art online that has made me go, "Oh my God, he is very handsome." And again, I'm heterosexual, and I will swoon for Leon. But yes. So with the original game, one of the other things that that really drew me into it was the fact that you had to be conservative with your ammo, right? It was not a game where you could just run and gun like Contra or anything like that. It was like, and you didn't learn that to begin with, right? It was you learnt it by running out of ammo when you needed it, because you had spent an hour using up all your ammo on zombies that you could run past. And then by the time you die, you're back at a save point and you've got your ammo back, and you're like, okay, right, I can probably run past these now and not have to worry. So it was teaching you that by making you fail. It's that Nintendo sort of gameplay loop, right? They would always teach you would play the game, you would fail, and you would realize why you failed. And that's the same sort of thing within Resident Evil, in learning the systems of that game. And like the ammo conservation of it is that sort of gameplay. There's like you can use all your ammo if you want, but if you do, you are absolutely fucked later. Right? So you need to
And
know
I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
Sorry,
even
Thomas.
more the ink ribbons, right, are even a
Yes.
bigger deal, I think,
Yeah.
because making the saving scarce, that really makes you do some risks and try to maximize a session between two saves, so you can do as much as possible before you waste another one.
Yeah. That was just for me. Again, I used my saves. I still remember when I ran out, and then you get to another save point, and you're like, oh my god, I'm so close to and I think this was really close to the end, and I'd run out of ink ribbons, and I think my previous save would have been about an hour before that.
Oh.
And yeah, because I had just saved like a loony before that. I would do something, run back to the save room and save, because I had like 8 ink ribbons, and I was like, okay, I've got 8 saves. That's fine. I can do this. And then you go back and you get to the final boss, and you're like, oh, no, if I die now, I'm gonna have to play so much game again. But the thing is, as well, I've already at this point I've screwed myself, because I've already used even if I go back to that save, I'm still out of ink ribbons, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm going to have to start again. So
See,
that game is what taught me to do multiple save files.
Yeah,
So
I
wasn't
kind of.
playing off of the
I mean,
one
I
save
still do
file.
that. Yeah, I still do that with Resident Evils now. Like,
Yeah, I do.
I'll always have multiple cores.
With the series. Yeah.
But yeah, especially like.
Sorry, I was just going to say, it's just it made gaming so much like more cerebral when you were playing it, right? You're playing like usually when you play a game, when you played a game before, it was all very visual and dazzling and stuff, and you're running from right to left or left to right, shooting things and move on to the next stage. And this game completely threw that rule book out of the window. I know there were games before that did this, but in terms of like the console space, in a mainstream hit like that, it was completely different.
Well, I think
That's really new.
why. Yeah, I think it's why gaming felt so fresh. I think it's almost sad that games don't even try that anymore when it's a mainstream game. It's almost like the hand holding. Like, I mean, it's the age old. People now complain about that everything's yellow that you have to touch
to climb. Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, I've been recently playing the remaster of Dead Rising. I mean, Dead Rising is why I got the 360 in the first place, being a huge George Romero fan, and I wanted to play Dawn of the Dead, the game. And but I was playing the remake, and I just noticed, like, really early on in the game, there's like a boss battle. I don't know if anybody's played it. And I've never noticed, either it isn't there or I've never noticed it. But it literally tells you on the wall, like it's written this way in yellow. And then to jump up on the side, it's like it gives you this big yellow arrow. And it's like that can only be there as instruction.
Yeah,
like,
I haven't played
because there's no reason to jump up on this level without needing to go up there to attack the boss. So it's like I figured that out, like, without that hand originally. So why do we need it now? Why does everything have to be that yellow? And it's strange that it started out in some games and like it's kind of propagated the whole of the gaming sphere now. But like back in the day, there wasn't on the PlayStation and stuff like that. There was no hand holding. You had like you're saying, you either burn through all your ammo or you burn through all your ink ribbons, and that was it.
I mean, of course,
that was your lot.
I think, of course, one reason is back in the day we didn't have the choice we have today, because nowadays if I play a game, I'm a bit annoyed. Oh, well, come on, let's open the list. I have Gorilla and other games here. Let's just go for another one. And of course, back in the day, game comes out, I buy the game because most people were probably still in their teens at the time. So if you get the game, you want it has to count, and you want to play it, and the game also can take a few more liberties in terms of what it does, because they know the player will stay with it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they don't have as many.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
it
also,
is-
of course, I'm not a person who wants to decry everything being bad now these days. But now, when a game comes around that does things differently, it also gets really, really criticized for that often. Did you follow the discourse on Crimson Desert today?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
There seems to be a
yeah,
lot of
I know
backlash.
that's.
I haven't played it myself. A friend of mine played a lot of it already for the for the tech review, and I looked at him playing it, and he also told me this game is very fascinating. It's very interesting, very ambitious, and it doesn't play by established rules. It shows the usual rule books and the what do you call it, the best practice out of the window, and does its own thing, which I think is a very cool thing to do. But it's getting very much criticized for doing exactly that now, which I think is a bit sad.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
was reading
I've
some of the reviews, and I was thinking, well, this actually sounds really good. Like, I think it was the IGN review I was reading, because their one was massive, and I was like, this sounds really, really good. Like, it sounds different, and like the complaints they were making, I was just like, why would you complain about that? Because they were saying stuff like, that it feels unfamiliar, the combat system, and I was like, okay, well, that's good though, right? Because if it's the same combat system that's in every game, why
you've already
not?
played it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Yeah.
that stuck with me. I was like, why would that be weird? Like, that should be a good thing if you're playing something.
But
But
we're
unless it's just
talking.
crap. But then
Yeah,
he didn't say that. He just said that it's unfamiliar.
yeah. I think that, but we're talking like lowest common denominator with that kind of review.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's like we are talking like literally like they're talking to like the TikTok generation who aren't going to stick with something. Do you
And
know what
also,
It's like-
I think I do reviews myself, so I know what it's like, and I'm the last person to criticize other reviewers for their opinion. But this is a very reviewer-unfriendly game, I think, because you have to stick with it, and if you just have to rush through the game within 2 weeks or so, at best, you will probably hate it at some point. It's a game you
Sorry,
want to just dig around and do stuff, fuss around, do stupid stuff, and just try doing things. And if you can't do that, it won't be any fun.
yeah, that was the same sort of thing when Demon Souls came out in Japan.
Yeah.
And because it was English language as well, so it was one that you could play. And I remember a lot of the reviews being really negative, but Eurogamer gave it a high score when they were doing it 10s back then. I think it got an 8 or a 9, and that managed to get a lot of people on board importing it and trying it out. And it was only after everyone else started saying, "Oh, this game's amazing," that the reviews then started changing for that game, and they re-reviewed the American version. And when that was brought over, the reviews were better and higher. But I think that was because they were like, "Oh, actually, this game's actually like people are actually enjoying it. They're actually finding it's actually a good game." But all the other reviews before the Eurogamer one were sort of around the 5 and 6s because of how different that game was. And how fussy that game is, because that game is incredibly fussy as a game. But you learn it. It's like when you play Resident Evil first time, you learn how to play it. You go, okay, I died straight away and then you go, right, what do I need to do now to get better? And it's just this whole thing where you're just learning the systems, and no one really got that until Demon Souls, And yeah, I'm so glad that I can't even remember who reviewed it at Eurogamer, but that review was the review that made me buy it, because I just remember reading it and thinking, man, this sounds amazing. I don't really like that sort of game now because I don't have the time to invest in those sorts of games these days. But yeah, I really enjoyed Demon Souls for what it was back in the day, regardless of all the negativity that was there with it.
And
yes,
same as Resident Evil, right? Because the game doesn't tell you many things. You really have to figure them out on your own.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
There is stuff that I learned years later only, like the what are they called again? The guys with the claws that claw your head off. The lickers.
Yes.
That they don't have eyes, so they can't see me. So if I stay still, right? I didn't know about that. So these guys
Yeah,
were a holy terror for me at first.
yeah. And it's like, if I just stand still and let them go, this should be all right. But you don't know that until you move, and then they follow you, or launch at you, or have their massive tongue come out and gret you. But yeah, it is a game of learning while playing, and that's a very, like I say, it's a very Nintendo way of doing things. Like all of their early games were like that, you know, Zelda, like the original Zelda, Super Mario Brothers. Is you play, you learn, and that's the sort of games that I like. You learn as you play. I don't like to be stopped every few seconds for something to come up on the screen and say, oh yeah, if you go over there and press this, you crouch. And you're like, I don't really want to know. I just want to be left to play. Thank you. I will learn it.
Also, by the way, one very nice thing I liked also that the game made you a bit work for. I mean, when I played for the first time, I had no idea what it was about. I knew it was a game, it was horror, but I had no idea, is it supernatural stuff? Is it Lovecraftian stuff? Is it zombie horror? And only over time I found out, okay, it's one of those. So I went in really blind.
Yeah.
I probably
me too.
wouldn't
I
have if I had
no idea.
known about the Japanese name Biohazard. It's sort of telling, but still.
Yeah, exactly. I had no idea either going in. I just assumed it was going to be like a Romero movie, a zombie movie, slasher horror sort of thing. And then when you play it and you're like, oh, actually, it's actually like a mystery to it. And that to me was awesome because, like I said, I'm a massive point and click adventure fan, and that's what they do. And yeah, I so gelled with this game more than I ever thought I would when I first saw it. Because, like I say, when I first saw it, I loved the look of it and everything, but because it was horror, I was kind of not sure. But then as soon as I played it, I was like, yes, this is what I want to play. Like this sort of game, this is it. And I never had a problem with the controllers back then either. It was
Why would we?
Because it makes sense. It does make sense though. Like the especially with the way that the pre-rendered backgrounds and that do, it makes perfect sense to control it that way. Obviously, going back to it, I think if you go back to it now and stuff like that, you go like, oh, I just want to play a remake because it feels so much more natural. But I think it would have been. It just controls right for the platform and the age, and the way that the game was built. It just works.
Especially the speed. The speed of the game is made for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I still play the remake with classic controls.
Right.
I don't go with the modern controls for it. I tried, and I was like, it doesn't feel right for me.
It does.
Like, I have to go back to the classic controls for it. But yes, so out of all the versions of the original, which one is, well, not just of the original, but of Resident Evil, which is the one your hill that you'll die on?
Are you including the remake as well, or only the various versions of the original game?
Director's cut,
the original. Yes, like director's cut, the original, and like the DS version and the Saturn version as well versus like the PlayStation.
I mean, I always like just straight up Black Label.
Okay, so the very first one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm the same. That's the one I know, that one I love, and I also have to admit I didn't buy the director's cut because money is scarce in these days, and spend full price for a little update. Nah, not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say I did buy director's cut because I wanted to play Resident Evil 2 demo, and that was the whole reason I did. And then I played director's cut. So for me, and I played more of director's cut than I did the original. So I think for me that director's cut for me, but I don't like the musical changes in director's cut.
Yeah.
I will say
the music's on it. The music's on another level. It's a shame because there is a lot to like about director's cut, but and then obviously director's cut DualShock, which adds like DualShock controls and stuff. But the soundtrack. I mean, with the director's cut, you also get like rearrangement of items and things like that. So it does give you a new reason to play. And there was some difficulty changes, wasn't there, in director's cut?
Yeah, it made things so there was the ammo drop was more, so
Yeah.
you would get more ammo. As you play, if you played using more ammo, you would get more ammo. Is how it
Yeah.
played, which was which was cool, but made it a bit easier.
Mhm.
So, I did buy it literally to play the demo of Resident Evil 2. That was the only reason. And then about a month later, there was a demo with PlayStation Magazine. I was like, oh my god, I could have waited, but it's a different demo. So but isn't the one that came with the PlayStation Magazine the one that you can actually go through? There's a bit where you can actually go outside the timer, so you can actually explore more of the game. I'm pretty sure that was the one that came with the official PlayStation Mag.
I don't know.
There
Pretty
was
cool,
one
though.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, there's one of them. I can't. I just remember this from a few years ago. Whenever Resident Evil 2 remake came out, was that 6 years ago? And someone wrote about it on a website saying, "Oh, there was a demo that came with the PlayStation Magazine, and it only had I think it was like a 20-minute timer or something on the game on the demo, and
Well,
you
that's
could."
I mean,
There was something you could do to get out of that time loop, and you could have nothing would spawn, but you could explore more of it. So you would get no zombies or anything like that. It was just a case you run around.
well, that was probably on the back of the fact that Resident Evil 2 remake demo was a one-time only. You could only play it once.
Yeah,
which
true.
which I loved, but was incredibly frustrating.
So we should probably move on to Resident Evil 2. So Resident Evil 2 were released in 1998, and the window between the release in Europe and Japan and America was really quick turnaround.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
it
they
was
knew
within
people
2
wanted that
months.
game.
Yeah. And I remember the hype for this game being astronomical. I'd never seen it before. Never seen a
Yes,
game
I
just
would
be.
actually say it's the biggest hype at that point in time, right?
Yeah, I'd never
When you
seen
think
a
of,
game get that much hype. It was like, oh my god,
well,
even
okay,
Sonic.
maybe Mario 64 was also kind of hyped, but Resident Evil 2 was huge.
Yeah, and I remember seeing on, God, I can't remember which TV show it was, but there was a TV show in England, but it wasn't Games Master or Bad Influence, but one of them showed the George Romero advert for Resident
Oh,
Evil
wow.
2 or Biohazard 2 in Japan. And I just went, oh, why didn't we get that advert? It's brilliant,
Speaking of TV shows, by the way, you know Spaced, right, with Simon Pegg?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Was he playing in Resident Evil 1 or 2 in that one episode? It's 2, right? Okay, so it fits in here. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah. So he's there playing that, and they have a whole episode based on
Yeah.
his disorientation with reality and and
Due to certain
playing,
substances he consumed.
yeah, thinking he was playing living Resident Evil 2, which was then later used as the inspiration for Shaun of the Dead. It's I mean, Resident Evil 2 was just a monster of a hit. It was just incredible. My friend and I, so I bought it on my PlayStation, and my friend bought it on his, and we would like take each other's memory cards to each other's house when we would play it, and we would do little like sections on my memory, then on his memory card, and we'd do some more. So we were trying to play through it at the same pace, and yeah, it was just he'd never played a game before other than the first Resident Evil. Like he'd never played games before, and he played the first Resident Evil, and that was it. Like he then played Resident Evil 2, he played Resident Evil 3, and then he stopped gaming again until the Resident Evil 2 remake came out in 2019.
So you
he never touched
exclusively
the game
play as
again.
Resident Evil.
That is dedication.
Yeah, it was only because I messaged him. I sent him a photo of me, not of me playing, but of like a screenshot of my game of Resident Evil 2, and I said, "Look what Resident Evil 2 looks like now." And then he replied saying, "How do I get that?" And yeah, and then he bought that, and then he bought the Resident Evil original remake on PS4, and then bought the Resident Evil 3 remake, and he hasn't played a game since he completed Resident Evil 3 remake. So he's never played Resident Evil 4 or anything like that. He's literally just played Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, and then 1, 2, and 3. So, and he doesn't play games anymore. He's just like, yeah, I don't use that anymore. And I'm like, yeah, there's a new one out. He was like, yeah, doesn't interest me. I'm like, okay. So, but yeah, literally Resident Evil 2 for him, he absolutely obsessed over it like I did. And then after Resident Evil 3, he never went back to gaming. Just crazy. Yeah, it's mad. But yes, Resident Evil 2. How did you guys play? Obviously, Phil, we already said you did not play it when it first came out. You did though, Thomas, right?
I didn't.
I
but
did.
Obviously.
Yeah, please go.
I played the PC version of it, which obviously came out like a short while. Like it was a short while after it, wasn't it? Yeah, it's. I think with Resident Evil 2, for even for how kind of short the space and time was relatively between the first two games, it's like the difference, the sheer difference between like the quality, obviously everything about it, like the character models, the storylines, much more developed. It's kind of got
just
like
that intro alone, that was
Yeah.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. It's like seeing the guy in the truck as well, and you're seeing like all these characters like incidentally around it, and it made it feel like it was like a real thing that was happening. You know, like you could actually feel there was like this zombie pandemic basically, which there was none of that feeling. It wasn't like a larger world thing in Resident Evil. You know, but yeah, it was. Oh, man, that opening was so good.
Yeah, back in the day when it came out. Sorry, please.
No, I keep talking over you. You go.
I just wanted to say, so when it came out, I didn't have the money to buy it right away. But a good thing is, of course, a friend of mine bought again the American import as soon as it arrived here. And well, he just said, okay, just take one of the discs. I'll play this part, you play the other one, and then we just swap afterwards. So I could still play it.
Brilliant.
It was really a class act, yeah.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah. I say I never even what a nice thing to do. That's warm me heart.
Now you're making me
Yeah, also
that maybe I might buy another game.
Yeah, I have my version myself now by now, of course, but back in the day it was really was a godsend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which scenario did you play first?
I played Claire first.
Claire first. Yeah. I think it's really strange because like for years, like I never really played the Claire scenario, so I never played B. So like obviously like isn't it like in Leon A you don't get Mr. X if you play as Leon A?
Yeah, if Mr. X is only in Leon B and Claire A.
So like for years and years and years I was just like where's this Mr. X? And it wasn't until I got into the series as much as I do now, it kind of got, oh right, that's when that comes in and that's when that comes in. And again, that's I mean, the fact that you get like essentially almost like 4 games for one, because you can either play as like Leon A, then play Claire B, or Claire B, Claire A, then Leon B, and it's like to give you that kind of like that variety from the same game is quite like for its time really cool. I mean, you don't get that now.
What,
do you know what I mean? Like, even the remake, you don't really get that kind of variety of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the scenarios are pretty much A, B together.
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine for a second, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
So imagine for a second, right? Capcom is doing this gigantic work with features that some people will never see. So that, as you said, it wouldn't happen today, because if you put in something like Mr. X today, they would of course make sure everybody sees it.
Yeah.
And making this missable in that way, that is a very 98 decision.
Yeah.
And also, I think a very brave decision.
Yeah, and I think that's why the way that the remake set up is that it is Claire A, Leon B scenario, isn't it? Because you're going to get Mr. X. Yeah, it doesn't matter which one you choose, you're getting Mr. X. But the other great thing that I could not believe is like you'd leave something for the other character when on your next playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh my god, that's actually there, because it's like, oh, should I take this or should I leave it? And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave it. Or and then you take it, and then you feel really bad for Leon when you go back. And you're like, oh Jesus, Leon, I'm sorry, mate. I took that as Claire. I didn't realise you'd need it. And it's like, I'd never seen that before in a game.
Yeah.
That was just like, how that is so clever.
Funnily enough, I know, like, obviously we're breaking away. Have you done that with Requiem? Were you purposely leaving stuff?
Yeah, I was. So yeah, when I was playing Requiem, I was leaving. The stuff for making the Requiem ammo, and the Requiem ammo itself. I wouldn't touch as Leon. I would leave that for Grace. Yeah.
See, I
I'm
never
still
even
too early in the game for that.
See, I'd never even used the Requiem for Grace. I kept it for Leon.
But see, if you get but you can learn once you learn how to make the bullets. Like you will come across loads of that stuff. And then there's Leon. You never really need Requiem. Like you never do. It's like you can just use all your other weapons.
That's
You
good
have
to know,
so many.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's so much cool things. How much of Requiem have you played?
I'm really not far. I am right now at the I played the beginning. I played that first Grace sequence when she has to escape from that huge hulking nurse monster, and now I'm playing again Leon, and I have to get the chainsaw from that one guy. So we're really in the beginning, because I got it rather early, but then I had to do a lot of Procopia, and that ate a ton of time for me.
Oh well, you're in for a treat.
You are in for a treat.
I played again before we started this podcast today.
Oh man, it's so good. I can't even. Yeah,
I mean, it looks mind-blowingly good. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it is incredible.
But like we're saying, like the way that the games have like modernized and stuff, and obviously going back to what we're talking about, like Resident Evil 2.
Yeah,
it's interesting that they've kind of they're doing like the different scenarios, but you play them as part of the same narrative.
Yeah.
And that shows you how like kind of game and tastes changed. In terms of they've kind of got to make it the same playthrough as playing both different characters now, as opposed to when like Resident Evil, like the original series, the original 3, was very much like assuming that people will, because obviously I think you said it before, where people are buying less, they'll stick with it longer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that was the thing. I think that really helped Resident Evil 2. Was that fact that you could just play and play and play, and each scenario you start differently, right? So even though you're playing through the same story, you're playing it in a completely different order, and it's so cool when you go back and say if you go Leon A, Claire B, and then you do the Leon A, the Claire A, Leon B story, and you see the differences in the story, like being completely different, and you're like, how is this? It's like it is like a different game. It's so clever. I love it so much. But of course, this wasn't actually going to be the game we got, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the game that they produced in a very quick turnaround after cancelling the original Resident Evil 2. And I mean,
there was
it was done in less than a year, wasn't it? This version.
Yeah. Well, especially since they had like, what is it, 60 to 80% of the original Resident Evil 2 done. It was very far into its development. Yeah, and it was just Shinji Mikami was just like, it's just not working. Like the narrative needs to. They brought in a new person to rewrite the narrative and everything, and it's. I mean, what would have happened to Resident Evil if that original game had come out is quite strange. To kind of trying to think of, because obviously characters are different and everything, and but to get this kind of, as I say, even with the short turnaround from 1 to 2 anyway, and then to think that some of that, a good proportion of that, will have been a remake in what you'd kind of start from scratch again. And as I say, with the leap forward from the original game is incredible. Like, to get that, I mean, can you imagine that a game of that quality coming out like so soon with that kind of turnaround?
Yeah, it's such an incredible turnaround, and
I mean, it's also typical for the PlayStation, I think, because I think the PlayStation was a system where every 3 months you got another game that would blow your mind and redefine what games could be for you, right?
yeah, absolutely, and the turnaround for games were ridiculously good. I mean, they were turning out a Tomb Raider every year as well, which is insane. But it was a lot of reused assets and things like that. Which
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like,
but,
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, even if you look at the way that Capcom did remake 2 and then remake 3 as a quick turnaround, and say, yeah, but you used a lot of assets, and 3 is really stripped back.
Yeah,
like to the point where it's almost unrecognizable.
Yeah. So, what are your overall thoughts on Resident Evil 2, Thomas? Like, overall, how do you feel about the game and in terms of its mechanics and story and everything?
I mean, of course, it's a stone cold classic. There's no doubt about that. Back in the day, I was at first actually a bit disappointed because I missed that that mansion feeling from the first one. Of course, the police station sort of recreated that, but by going bigger, more action and everything, I think for me at least it lost a bit something. But of course, in the meantime, I've really made my peace with it and the way it turned out, and I think it's amazing, and it's a game I think people should really have played if they are interested in the medium and interested in horror games and everything. It's an essential.
Mhm.
Yeah, agreed. Phil, what about you?
Well, I mean, it's in my top 3 games of all time. I've bought it. I think I own about 8 different copies of it. Bought it, keep buying different versions. I think it's incredible from top to bottom. I love as I say, I mean, even though like as I discussed, one of my favorite things about the original, much like yourself, is that it was set in a mansion and it kind of had that very like gothic feel. I think moving it into the police station, which is, I mean, that's the soundtrack of the police station. The score is just incredible. Like it kind of lives rent free in your head once you've played it.
I had to buy that DLC for Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Yeah, I did.
I did. Music.
Yeah, and I remember I installed it recently on my PlayStation 5 and started playing it, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. So I went straight back into the store and I was like, right, get that downloaded again and put that back in. But even like the subtlety, the kind of subtleties with Resident Evil, Jesus Christ. But it's kind of like, you know, the where the liquor runs past the window at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like just little touches like that, so cool. Like, and then like the way that it expands and stuff like that. It's like the formula itself is pretty similar. You know, it's do puzzles, unlock different areas. This key does that. You're going to need this key. You've walked past that door 100 times, still not found the key for it. You know, shooting zombies, deciding which ones you can kill, which ones you can't. Then obviously it brings in like variant enemies that are a bit harder and things like that. But it's whether the kind of like it just feels more. There's just like it does feel like you're really in the middle of this like zombie apocalypse. And you kind of feel, and obviously there's a lot more characters in that to meet now. You know what I mean? There's like not more. You know, there's a lot more like human characters. Obviously, you got Kendo at the beginning, and it kind of he's going through this scenario himself and how it affects him. And then you know you've got
Marvin.
We got Marvin. No, our name escaped us for a second there. You mean Marvin straight away, and it's like, and it's so cool to have like how is this affecting other people in the world who are not like they're not going to follow you on the story, but they flesh it out. They make it feel more like vibrant. Do you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
obviously you've got like Chief Irons and that. If you play as like Claire, and you've got like a big part of his story and stuff, and you find out that he's a bit of a psychopath, and that's as well as like the later stories with with Sherry Birkin and stuff like that, and then Ava, meeting Ava and stuff, bringing her into the series, and it's just excellent. I just love it. I just think it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, you see, for me, I wasn't so disappointed with the loss of the mansion, and but because for me again it still had those trappings of the point and click adventure, but in a much bigger setting. And I always enjoyed like the bigger scope of a point and click adventure game, like globe trotting and things like that in like Indiana Jones, those sorts of things. And this having it in like a city to begin with, you're going out, and at the time it felt huge. Right now you're like, okay, it's like 4 screens, and then you're in the police station. But back when I first played it, I was like, oh my god, this city's huge. And yeah, I fell in love with this game. I preferred it to the original, probably halfway through my first playthrough. I was like, yeah, no, this is my kind of game. But and tonally as well, it is a massive shift from the original. Like tonally, it's like no, we are in full Campville now. This is a really campy movie. This is not the original game at all. But I think it's better for it because it sets it out separately. It makes it its own thing rather than just another Resident Evil. It's like they could have just done the same thing. Played it safe, and I think that's what the original idea was to do that again in a police station, wasn't it? So and then I think wasn't it Shinji Mikami who turned around to Kamiya and say this is not good, this is not fun. And I think it would have been because it is just retreading, and because I have played 1.5 and it is very much like Resident Evil. It's not Resident Evil 2. Like it's tonally not Resident Evil 2. And I think they made the right choice of scrapping it and making this Resident Evil 2 because it is different. It's its own thing, and it's and I think that's what Resident Evil 4 is as well. It goes into that whole thing. It is its own thing again. Whereas I think Code Veronica plays it a little bit safer in terms of its structure. It's like you're in one environment, and it's a much more it's a smaller feel to it than Resident Evil 4. And I think that's where Resident Evil 2 becomes much bigger. Is like you're not just in the police station. After a while you're out into this research facility, and then you've got to escape this research facility as well. And it's like, oh my god, it just keeps going. But there's also the sewers and it's just huge. And then you get it with Claire, and there's if you start as Leon, that's what you get. And if you start with Claire, you got even more stuff. And if you start then with Claire after you've played through as Leon, you're like, oh my god, there's a whole new route, and loads of different areas. It's just incredible, like that they managed to pull this off in a way and make something so different to the original that you can it sort of stands on its own. It doesn't stand up as like, oh, this is a good Resident Evil 2. There's a good Resident Evil sequel. It's no, this is a great game.
I think I can appreciate it because, like, in my job as well, like as a creative, sometimes I'll do like a first pass at something. Like I'll design something and hand it to somebody. Well, what do you think? What can I do? And they go, oh well, that's not working. That's not working. And you look at it the second time, your second run, you go through and go, that's like chalk and cheese and what I started with, and you're so much happier. So it's kind of like, it's almost that like being. It's great that happened to Resident Evil. That it was like it took somebody to go, this can be better. And it wasn't the fact that it was taken off Hideki Kamiya and going like, oh, you're not good enough to do that. It was, look, we need to change this, and what can you do to make it better?
Yeah. And
You know what I
he
mean?
did, and it's not he. There was a team, but
No, but you know what I
his
mean. It's like
that
under his
version.
direction.
Yeah, the direction of the game that it went into, I think it's much better for that. Because I mean, if anyone hasn't played 1.5, go and play it, and then you will say, "I am so glad that they went back and redid Resident Evil 2." Because as much as like you have this whole fantasy in your head of like, I bet it's amazing, this game that they scrapped, and you play it and you're like, oh, I'm so glad they scrapped this. Like, it is not that fun.
But of course, if I may, I have to add one very important aspect about Resident Evil 2. That is, of course, again, German-centric, because I think Resident Evil 2 was probably Capcom Germany's darkest hour.
Oh,
Or well, I don't think there was Capcom Germany, but their publishers back in the day. Because, as I mentioned already, right, these games could be put on that index.
yeah.
And you didn't know when that happened, because somebody complains about the game, then they will look into it, and then it's gone. And so Resident Evil 2 came out, and I think after 2 days, straight on the index it went, and they probably could just
Oh, no.
destroy the whole production. So that game was, of course, everybody still wanted to play it, but it was hard to get it, and it was commercially dead at this point.
Wow.
That is...
And
yeah.
that was pretty sad and pretty terrible.
Oh,
So how
man.
did you play it?
I mean, I got the American import version long before that happened.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you knew what you're doing, if you are really into games, you could always get anything you wanted. But
Yeah.
for the average customer who just goes to the store, gets the game, goes home, plays it, it's gone. For the
What
video
was the,
center people, it's gone.
What was the because I've never spoken to anybody from a different country regarding their like gaming history. Because you know how like Chris, you know obviously that mod chipping and for the PlayStation was really prevalent. I mean, everybody knew somebody who could copy games. Not that you should do that, but it was like in the PlayStation era, that was pretty much nearly every lad that you knew had a chip PlayStation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Was it like that in Germany, or was the
Very
modern
much,
scene the
yeah.
same? And so
The thing is-
obviously that you would still be able to get like bootleg versions of like the games. So would you be able to get bootleg games of indexed games? Is
normally,
that the easiest way to get it?
yes. So the thing is, to explain quickly, I had a mod chip, but I used it for import games.
Mhm.
Because I
Yeah,
think
I
one of
did
my friends
too.
actually had a CD burner back in the day, but I just wasn't into bootlegs, and I saved up for the games I wanted, and then I bought them. And but yeah, I think it was pretty easy to get them.
I was going to say, but was there a big market for bootleg games in Germany?
It's usually just somebody knows a guy who knows a guy who has the game. So that way, basically, yeah.
Yeah, in the UK, what you'd find is with the bootleg games at a market, there would be a guy with a stall who will be selling bootleg copies of games, and then say, "Oh, you need to have your PlayStation chipped when you pick it up," and he'd have like use these black and white printed manuals and things for it, and cover inlays and stuff.
It wasn't
really
that,
lovely.
at least from where I am, but I could imagine that also happened in bigger cities, maybe.
Yeah, the thing with England is we're really cheap, and we will try and do anything for as little money as possible. We're really we are quite pikey like that.
The thing is, I was never a bootleg person for the simple reason because I wanted my 60 hertz in my games back in the day. As soon as I learned about that was a thing, I could not go back to PAL 50. There was just no way.
I only learned about that with Tekken 3. That was when I got told about it, because I remember playing Tekken 3 and thinking, this does not feel as fast as it looks in the trailers and things that I've seen for this. And then someone was just like, oh yeah, you need to get your PlayStation modded, and then you can buy games from America.
I found out that stuff.
I was like, oh my god! And then I then bought the Resident Evil 2 DualShock version that came out in America, so that I could play that with the Rumble. It was cool.
I found out about that stuff in the 16-bit generation already because I had my Mega Drive and my Super Nintendo both modded, so I had a switch in it where I can just put them up into 60 hertz.
I see. I played
And of
them
course,
in crappy vision. Yeah.
if you play Sonic, when you can just switch between 50 and 60 hertz, all of a sudden, oh, so this is what it's about.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Man,
that
I remember the first time I played that that and Super Mario World in 60, and just being like, oh my god, I was lied to as a child.
Yep, exactly. So because of that, I was never really a person for the official PAL versions. I have, when I look at my PlayStation collection right now, it's, I would say, 90% American and Japanese versions of games.
Yeah, mine ended up being that way, but it did start out predominantly PAL. The only time I went PAL again was for Final Fantasy 8 and 9,
Okay.
just because I detested the American box art. I was
Yeah,
like,
they're not that nice.
I was like, ugh, I like
Oh.
the one that we got over here, with just the white with the
Right, the Japanese
with the
ones.
logo on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously I didn't speak Japanese, so I was like, I can't really buy the Japanese version for the box art. I'm going to have to go for the crap performance.
You know, the
The Switch
wildest
version.
thing I had once, I had a boot CD for the PlayStation that would force games into 60 hertz if you boot with that CD first.
Oh my god, I never knew about that.
It didn't work for every game, so you had to have a game that was really completely what do you say? Um, that had no PAL adaptation at all. So stuff like, for example, I remember playing Final Fantasy 1 and 2. They were slower, they were bordered, so I can just boot them in 60 hertz and they're working perfectly fine. But something like Crash Bandicoot probably would have just been very weird.
Yeah. Oh, that was another game I got. I managed to pick up a copy of Crash 2, an American one for like a $5, and I'd already played Crash 2, and I thought it was too. I just didn't like it, and then I played the American version. I was like, man, this is really good. Like it's
But
so
I think
fast.
Crash was actually pretty well adapted for the PAL market, at least the first one, I think. But I might be mistaken here.
I
been a
really,
while.
I never really played the first one until years later after I
Okay.
liked Crash 2, and then I went back and played Crash 1, and I was like, oh my god, I actually really like the Crash series. That first 3, I think they're really good.
Oh yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
yeah,
But
I
maybe
never understand why people don't like them.
to pivot back to Resident Evil now, as I mentioned, right? So Resident Evil 2 was banned in Germany, which of course meant a lot of lost sales for Capcom.
Yeah.
So to maybe if I can make the bridge to Resident Evil 3 now, I think that is the reason why Capcom went all overboard with censoring Resident Evil 3 for Germany.
How? Because that's not censored in Europe, in the UK anyway. Resident Evil 3, because I played
In
the PAL
Germany, it
version,
certainly
and
is.
then yeah, because I've played both the PAL and the US version of Resident Evil 3, and I know they're pretty much identical, bar the fact that one's got massive borders.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know that. How much has been cut in the German one?
So what they did two major things. The first one is all the blood is gone. All the blood has been colored black, so it looks like the zombies are sort of shooting out ash when you shoot them. And the other thing is when you kill a zombie, it falls down and it just flickers out of the screen.
Oh, so its body
And
doesn't stay.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And these two things, of course, kill every atmosphere in that game.
Yeah. Yeah, because
People were laughing about the ash zombies and the flickering and everything.
See, I could understand it if you changed it to like green.
Yeah.
They did that in the first one, for example. I forgot to mention that, yeah. But yep, it's black.
So weird.
And then making the bodies disappear, because like that's the cool thing about it, right? Because like you then know you're not sure that one of the zombies is properly down.
Yep. It's a major gameplay element.
Yeah. Oh my god. That's a
Yeah, I think just
horrendous
Capcom was really deadly afraid of having the same thing happen to them as in 2.
I mean, you can get it. Like, I'd rather sell me game like censored than not sell me game at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
it's a shame.
by the way, before I give people nightmares about censorship here, this is over by now, of course. It doesn't happen anymore in 2026. The laws changed a long time ago, and now we are pretty safe from all that. So Resident Evil Requiem is the same as in all of the rest of Europe.
Yeah, that's good to know now.
Wolfenstein's very different in Germany, though, isn't it?
It used to be, but I think now they also can do the same stuff.
Oh, really? Because
Yeah.
the New Order was different. I'm sure of it.
I know that they shaved Hitler's beard. So yeah, that's not him. That's another guy. That's not him. No.
Yeah. That is not him.
Because we have very strict laws about depicting symbols from the Third Reich.
Oh yes,
so,
yeah, and that's
which is a good thing actually, but also of course includes stuff that is critical of it. So in games, it used to be basically you put in one swastika and you are banned automatically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
even if it was in a very negative context. But these things change by now as well. It's a lot more. More.
Because I say, I mean, I just knew that obviously the Resident Wolfenstein and stuff. Instead of having swastikas, wasn't it like the Wolfenstein logo, like the W? Was like
I think so.
Like the switch they are set out for that.
I know what they did in Indiana Jones, for example, in the old adventure games.
Cross, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I remember I got a my school went on a trip to Germany, and I picked up when I was over there. I picked up a copy of Fate of Atlantis over there because it had a different box cover to the one I had back home. And I brought that back, and then when I played it, because I thought, I'll play it because I was doing German at GCSE, so I was like, I should probably try and play some games with German, and and then I saw the swastika was replaced with crosses on their uniforms. So I was like, oh, that's different. And I didn't think at the time anything of it. I was just like, oh, that's strange. I don't know why it's done that, but okay. Obviously now I know, but as a child I had no idea. But I do remember that being a thing. Was it? No, maybe it was Last Crusade. Actually, I think it was Last Crusade on the Amiga, not that. But Germany though, the thing is, Germany was a huge market for PlayStation.
Yeah,
like
that's very popular over here.
It was the second biggest market in Europe after the UK. At that point, it was the same with the Amiga as well. Bizarrely, the Amiga was.
Oh, we were a big Amiga country, yeah.
Yeah. The UK and Germany are what make up, I think it's 90% of global sales of the Amiga. So it's just those two countries, which is insane. But yes, Germany was a huge market, so I can understand why they just had to cut it to pieces just to get it out. I
think they went maybe a bit overboard with it.
Yeah, it sounds it, especially the zombies disappearing after you put them down. It's like, no, you're like, okay, they're definitely dead then. There's like no suspense.
Yeah, I've definitely cleared those out. They're not getting back up.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it was because of censorship, but also in general, I think Resident Evil 3 had a much more lukewarm reception than the previous ones. Was it the same in the UK?
Yeah. So this one came out in 2000 for us, didn't it?
Pretty late.
Early 2000. And I remember at the time it getting good reviews, and I played it, but I only played through Resident Evil 3 once. And I played through the original Resident Evil and Resident Evil Director's Cut and Resident Evil 2 probably about 10 times each. And I only played through Resident Evil 3 once. And the thing is, I enjoyed it a lot, but I have no idea why I was lukewarm on it.
I think it's because it's more gimmicky, And
being chased also doesn't help the whole time.
That's what I'm saying. It's the fact that it doesn't. Strangely, I always like to relax into a Resident Evil game. I know it sounds really bizarre, but like the kind of like taking it at my own pace kind of thing, and thinking about what I want to do and my next steps and stuff is a big part of the way I like to play Resident Evil. And I think when you've got, I mean, even though they're like in it, it's scripted. You know what I mean? He's going to turn up every now and again.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that like your first playthrough, you don't know when that's going to happen, and he's a real pain in the arse. And especially the fight at the clock tower, like, is just so infuriating. And I think it's because of those things. It's kind of like it's good because it's very different. Like they switch the gameplay up. You know what I mean? Really good, and I love the fact that
It's got a quick turn as well, so you can.
yeah. But it's and I think Resident Evil 3 feels like a proper journey. Like all the different areas that you go to, and I think that's kind of why I was a bit disappointed with the remake, is the fact that it felt like it was only a couple of different places and they'd cut a load out. Because it didn't have that kind of feel like you'd travelled in it, or you hadn't had to do too much. It was kind of really linear. But I think it's the reason why it probably isn't played as much is because the gimmick is there. Do you know what I mean? And it kind of doesn't allow for as much experimentation.
Yeah, I agree. I do. The thing that I really liked about it though was the fact that there was this other team in it.
Mhm.
You know, so there was more. It did feel like the world had expanded again of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
You know, as you had these mercenaries turning up and things, and it's like, oh my god, this is great. I didn't realize that that he was going to be a bit of a douchebag, but I still really, really liked the fact that they were there. But it was really cool to see Jill back in the game, though, because
That is true, yeah.
it was really cool. Because like she was my main character from the first game, you know. So for me, I was like, oh yeah, my character's back that I liked. But yeah, and I do again though they definitely over sexualized the what's his name, the main merc who's with you.
Oh, I forgot.
But he's meant to be like the sexy one in it, even though Jill's dressed a little bit, you know, short with her dress.
It's dressed for a night out.
She is dressed for a night out on the tune. But yeah, but he is very much the over sexualized character again. You know, they very much frame him as that. I can't remember his name, which is really because I haven't played it for so long. And yeah, I didn't complete remake of 3. I got bored because it felt
Carlos.
That's it. Yes,
I knew it was
But
something
yeah.
South American.
Yeah, yeah. So I was trying to think of it. I could not think of what it was for a second. But yeah, Carlos. But yeah, he's yeah. I don't really like him as a character, so I was pleased with his.
I actually think he's better. He's actually one of the better things in remake.
Is he? Because I barely played remake.
I much prefer the way they've done his character in remakes. It's a lot better.
Because yeah, I don't like him very much in 3. But yeah, I do really like 3. But yeah, like you say, that lukewarm thing was there because I didn't really speak to anyone else who played 3 at the time. You know, like I was saying, I had friends and stuff who were playing 2, and then I had a boss who played the original, and I never heard people talking about Resident Evil 3.
And I think, one reason is also probably because just the PlayStation was at this point 5 years old, and it was getting long in the tooth at this point, right?
Yeah, true, yeah. And PS2 was on its way that year.
Dreamcast was out at the time.
Yeah, no one was playing that though, were they? Like, I know we were because we were gamers. I loved my Dreamcast, but you know, we were. Yeah, it wasn't very popular. But yeah, that's.
No, but you're right. You are right.
It was too late in the life cycle. Yeah.
Yeah.
They could really have just moved that game to PS2, like they did with Onimusha, because Onimusha was meant to be well, it's meant to be a 16-bit game.
Well, it was supposed to be Resident Evil, wasn't it? I mean, that's why I love. That's kind of why I love Capcom. And there's loads of games that were like, yeah, so we're going to make a new Resident Evil, but we're going to totally change it. Actually, no, we'll just call it something different.
Yeah,
because they did the same thing with Devil May Cry.
Devil May Cry was meant to be Resident Evil 4, and yeah. I mean, that's true. Yeah, it's great when they do that. But yeah, maybe if they'd held it off and made it a launch game for PS2, it would have probably been liked a bit more and more well remembered, because not many people go back and go, oh yeah, Resident Evil 3.
But I also think that it's one of those, because you know how like when games come out and they're like some people decide it's crap, and that kind of becomes a zeitgeist.
Very much, yeah.
And like and so it just, and then it kind of like comes back later actually and goes, oh, actually that's really good. Like, I'm trying to think what game is it? Like Res was a bit like that. You know what I mean? A couple of the magazines were like really down on it. There was like one or two magazines that said that it's good, but like a lot of them were like really lukewarm. It was a proper Marmite game, and if you look at it, how
reviewed that badly, they should never be allowed to write a review again.
no, I agree. I think it's the best game ever made. That
It's
and
so
Gunstar, and like, it's incredible. But look how many times that Res is, for being a kind of a cult game, look at how many times it's been remade, and how many consoles it's on now, is like ridiculous. I mean, I buy every version of it, so I've got a like it got redone on 360. It got obviously the amazing VR version that we've got now. You know what I mean? But it wasn't until like later on where people went, actually, it's really good, and it found its audience. It can go the other way where people go like, oh well, we didn't touch it because somebody said it was shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
because I didn't get it straight away either, because I got it on American import, but it wasn't straight away. It was probably about 6 months after its launch that I got it. So it was probably really close to when I got a PS2.
yeah.
And I think maybe that's why I didn't really replay it much, or replay it at all, because I had a PS2 at that point and it wasn't chipped, so I had to play PAL PS2 games, which is okay because a lot of them did have 60 hertz options, except for Tracer 5, unfortunately.
Yeah, funny thing, by the way, I bought my Japanese copy of Biohazard 3 only last year at a flea market in Tokyo.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
I paid a whopping...
the box art for the Japanese
Oh,
one.
it's beautiful, yeah. I paid 100 yen, very expensive.
Yeah. How much is that?
100 yen.
Yeah, how much is that in like euros?
Oh, that's 60 cent.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It's nothing.
Yeah. Did you not
Nothing.
realize?
I didn't realize how cheap that was.
Very cheap.
I was a bit like, what?
It was a flea market outside Nakano Broadway, and they sold a few games there. Well, then I wanted to play it, and I found...
Did it come with the stickers and stuff like that? Because I'm sure
You know,
my
exactly.
version of Last, because it's called Last Escape. I'm sure
I
got
actually got to check
stickers.
now. I think it doesn't. I played it then. Well, I wanted to play it, and I found out it's one of those games that has that matcha protection in it.
I'll quickly get mine as well. I'll have a quick look.
Okay, let me also give back in a second. I'm getting mine now.
I will add some music.
This is really professional way to podcast.
That's okay. I can stick some Resident Evil savoring music in.
Yeah, so I've got like my spine
Right.
card in mine, and
Here we are. No, it didn't come with stickers. Only the manual. Oh well, I mean, 100 yen. That's fine. I'm not complaining here.
Yeah. It's not stickers, and mine comes with it. It's the
This
it's like
is
the promo.
pristine, though.
Mine's got like a promo for all of like the toys and stuff. It must be another Resident Evil I've got with stickers. I'll send you a picture of what mine's got in. Because I've got like the spine card and stuff.
There's one thing I did want to touch on that we didn't get to on Resident Evil 2. Did anyone play the Game.com version?
Oh, no, I didn't.
I do want it, just so I say I can own it.
Yeah, that had me drooling as a teen, seeing that and being like, I'd love to be able to play Resident Evil 2 anywhere. Like,
yeah,
that would be so good. And I don't care if it's black and white. That looks so good. And then I saw Symphony of the Night as well, and I thought, oh my god, these are like two of my favorite video games ever. And I can play them on the toilet. Oh my god, I have to get me one of these. I think that was the most. I was probably the most enthusiastic person for the Game.com at that point, because I didn't get one in the end until.
I was going to say, did you actually ever get one?
Yeah, at least 2003 I got one. Picked it up very cheap. I think, but they're much more expensive now if you want to get one. Like everything early 2000s, like retro gaming was incredible.
Mm.
Like everything was so cheap.
Oh yeah, I mean my Dreamcast cost me £25 boxed.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I got Choo Choo Rocket with it.
I got
Who
a
didn't?
He didn't.
I got
But
a Neo
Smiths.
Geo Pocket Color in 2003, so it's just after it was discontinued. And I managed to get, because I had the Neo Geo Pocket from launch, but then I got a Neo Geo Pocket Color after they discontinued it all, and I managed to get that for I think I got it with 8 games for £30. And now, and one of those games was for Sali as well, which is astronomically expensive.
It's a big one. As a friend
Yeah.
of mine used to say, it's a juicy meatball.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that period of time has long passed for retro games,
Oh
sadly.
yeah.
But yeah, it used to be so good to be able to just go down to like a local secondhand game shop and just go nuts with
hoover up.
20 quid.
Yeah,
and
just
like,
hoover
just
up.
buy so many good things. Now it's like there's even like some DS games that are just ridiculously priced.
Well, let's say, I mean, it's my whole thing about like why is Wii U games still like 20 odd quid? And it's like, who's buying them?
Well, Nintendo
why
tax,
are they-
right?
Yeah, Nintendo tax.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you want to do any collecting, like the biggest advice would be don't go Nintendo, because it's just, unless you've got money to burn, do not have Nintendo as your collection. Have you guys seen the price of Resident Evil 2 PAL on N64?
Yeah, I've got it. It's I'm sure I've seen one recently for nearly like 300 quid.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So it's, and
I mean, that game is a miracle, but still.
no, it's an absolute miracle. And that's Angel Studios, who went on to become Rockstar San Diego.
Because I've got it.
So
I've got it
around.
as I've got it in PAL and American NTSC.
Yeah, I had the American version of it on the N64.
So I just need and I do want. I know it's going to cost us a lot of money, but I do want the Japanese version as well for the set.
Yeah, I put an order in for a analog 3D. So I thought, oh, cool, I'm going to get a copy of Resident Evil 2. And then I went on eBay and I then said, I am not buying Resident Evil 2 on the N64.
No, you're not. Yep.
Yeah. That's going to cost me more than buying an analog 3D.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
that's
it's
why
wild.
it's kind of wild. I mean, I think I got mine for £60.
I paid 70 for mine when it released on its actual release, to buy it American and get it imported. So
yeah, I mean both of mine like the boxes are quite tatty, but they're still like cart manual, like they're still complete. Obviously they're not going to be like the high end, but it's like I'd rather have them in the state that I've got them than not at all.
Yeah, I really regret selling my N64 collection now that I look at it. Because even Snowboard Kids as well, that costs a fortune. I was like, oh, really want to play that again, but I don't want to spend over £300 to play it again.
It's the same as, I mean, it's the same as Sin and Punishment. I think I got that at the last time that it was kind of viable to buy it.
Yeah, I got it quite cheap back in about 2002, I think. Like, I paid like £40 or something, which is nothing in comparison. But the thing is, this Resident Evil 2 copy, one of them that I started to bid on because it was at like £12. I was like, okay, I'll put a £40 bid in, and I was outbid within about 2 seconds. And then I looked again just as it was finishing, because I got the notification, and this was cartridge only, PAL.
Oh yeah,
and it went for £321.
Cart only,
just the cart only. Yeah,
that is ridiculous.
I know. I was like, I am not spending that sort of money on a video game, even if I really like it. especially when I've got about 8 other versions of Resident Evil 2 to play.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, I know we always say it's the technical marvel. It's the game that should never have happened. But it is one of the weakest versions of it.
It is, but
It's a curiosity. It's a curiosity.
It is a curiosity, but it is just such an incredible feat that they managed to get that onto a cartridge.
Yeah, but in the same way as Street Fighter Alpha 2 is on the Super Nintendo.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've got that, but
Yeah.
you know, I mean, people don't kill themselves to get it because it's not the best version of it's. It's
No,
pretty
it's
much
not.
low end of the. I mean, once Street Fighter Alpha 2, once the
honestly,
game loads, it's really good actually. Like
I think it's better than the PlayStation 1 version of Street Fighter Alpha 2.
Oh, interesting. Okay, why would that be?
So it loads faster for a start.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm talking. This is PAL to PAL. I'm talking on this one because I didn't play the Japanese version of Street Fighter 03 until 03, not 02. And I then bought the Saturn version on Japanese for Alpha 2, and that's the far superior version of all of them.
Yeah, it is.
But at the time when I had a PlayStation and SNES, but without any, I didn't do any chipping or anything back then. I played them like probably quite close to each other, like within about 6 or 7 months. And I played the PlayStation version first. And it was only when I saw that there was a Super Nintendo one, I was like, I should probably play that just so I can say I've played it on Super Nintendo. And I played it. And I remember thinking, this feels faster to load, and there feels like there's animations there that are in the Super Nintendo one that aren't in the PlayStation one.
Interesting.
I would say that I'd say that you lied to yourself for that.
No, it did. It felt like it. It really did feel like a better game. For me, I just found that the Super Nintendo version was better than the PlayStation, but both are so far inferior to the Saturn version that it's like a different game. Like the Saturn version is just so good. But the Game Boy Color has a really good version of Street Fighter Alpha, which is mind blowing. Have you guys played the Game Boy Color version of Street Fighter Alpha?
No,
I
I've only got
didn't.
I've got Alpha 3 on Game Boy Advance.
The Game Boy Color version is done by the same people. I think it's Crawfish who made it. They also did the Game Boy Color port of Resident Evil that got cancelled, if you remember that.
Okay.
But it's got worse graphics and everything, but it is really playable. Like it plays like Street Fighter Alpha. It's an absolute miracle of a port, and it's so much better than Street Fighter 2 on the Game Boy. Like it's not even close in comparison. It's just absolutely brilliant, really fast. All of the moves are there from Alpha, but it just has like worse graphics, and that's pretty much it. But it is a really good version. I was so impressed with it at the time. But yeah, but then playing, the proper version on Saturn, you're like, oh yeah, this is how you should play 2D fighters. But it's still a really cool curio. If you ever see it, you should definitely play it. But yeah, there was that Game Boy.
Do you notice something, by the way?
Sorry?
Did you notice something, by the way? We are not talking about Resident Evil 3 at all because there's probably not that much to talk.
No, that's the thing. Because I think it's because it is such a game of you're under pressure with Nemesis after you, that you don't have the time to really appreciate everything that's going on in that game. And I do feel, whenever I play it, it's like, it's the same sort of thing with like Majora's Mask versus Ocarina of Time, right? There is that time that you're under a time pressure on Majora's Mask, so it makes it feel more. You have more anxiety, right? And there's the same with Resident Evil 3. There's more anxiety for me in that game than there is in 2 or the original. And the original is way more scary, and so is 2.
Yeah.
But
I would say 3 is pretty much, it feels like a roller coaster to me.
Yeah. It's much. Yeah. It's an action romp, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, yeah, you don't have the time to stop and smell the flowers in that game.
Mhm.
You know, whereas with Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil, you do have that time to appreciate
Yeah.
the world that you're
Yeah.
in. You know,
It's kind of it's almost indicative to how Capcom treat Resident Evil. Like I always think that they go so far and then go, oh shit, we've gone too far. Let's reset and go back to what we originally started with. Like if you look at like so like case in point, if you look at like where they got to with like 3 and Code Veronica, and then go, oh, actually no, we need to go and make something totally different and do 4. And then 4 got to the point where you're at 6, and 6 is barely a Resident Evil game. It's just, I mean, the amount of times I've bounced off that is, I mean, I just keep trying and I can't. And so they go like, oh no, that was a complete mistake. Let's go back to the drawing board and do 7. Now 7 was really successful. So then 8, like, let's up the action a bit. And then 9, which is, it's got bits, but I mean, everybody knows. I mean, everybody's seen the memes. It's just like you go and you're playing a survival horror as Grace, and then you're playing like a shoot, like Leon just goes crazy and kills everything when you're playing as him. And it's kind of like,
And of course,
I always feel
drops the
like,
one-liner.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and it's like I always feel like Capcom always do this with Resident Evil. They push it or go down a route and get themselves so focused on making that experience that they kind of totally lose what the essence of what they're supposed to be doing is. So they have to do a reset. Now it might be a reset where it's like a full action game as opposed to horror, because like Resident Evil 4 is not really, well, it's not a survival horror, it's an action game. But then they took that too far and we're like, oh, we've totally lost our way now. And then they make 7, which is,
yeah.
I mean, I think we discussed it before, Chris, that it kind of feels more like Resident Evil 1.
It does, but it is way too terrifying for me to get through. It's the only Resident Evil I've not completed.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, I can't do it. I can't get out. It's just too much for me. I literally I spent an hour just standing in one spot, just going, I don't want to move. I just don't. I can hear things, and I can't do it.
It is probably the most, I think, of all the games, I think 7 is the one that's really got that psychological horror down to a fine art.
Oh yeah, it's terrifying.
And
It's
much
not
more,
as terrifying as say Alien Isolation, but it is still
no, where
absolutely
you hide in
terrifying.
the cupboard for 3 hours. But
Oh yeah, that's the game for me. It's like, how long can you stay
well, I
inside?
heard I was a guy. I was listening to a guy on a podcast. I know we're kind of going off Resident Evil again straight away, but these games are based. I mean, if it wasn't for Resident Evil, we wouldn't get these games. Case in
That's
point.
true.
So a guy said like, "Oh, I played Alien Isolation, and I just ended up hiding in a cupboard." And he was like, "But if it was really a xenomorph was there, I would hide in a cupboard anyway. So I'm probably getting the most out of Alien Isolation as I would have anyway."
That is exactly what I feel like. I'm like, oh yeah, if I was in a thing and there was a xenomorph after me, I would literally just hide. So that is all I'm going to do in this game.
Yeah.
And I haven't been back to it since then because I'm like, no, I know that I'm absolutely terrified. I will read up on the story of the game and see what happens. And that'll do me. That's what I did with Resident Evil 7. I had to read.
I think you're missing a trick with Resident Evil 7, though. It's not that
Yeah,
scary.
the thing is, I like it. That's the thing. I really, really like it, but I can't. I just can't. Like, I just have a psychological. Like, there's just something about me that just can't progress. I'm literally too afraid to go back to it, which is so weird. But you know, I completed Village. It wasn't enough to turn me off the series. You know, it was still like I still love the series. I'm still going to go back and play them. But yeah, I couldn't. It was like with Requiem. Requiem has like the start of that when you're in that hotel, like terrifying.
Very atmospheric.
But I
I
managed to
really
get
like
through it.
that.
Yeah, but I managed to get through that. But Village for me is like that times 1,000. you know.
Mhm.
And I think I did about 4 hours. No, not even 4 hours. Maybe 2.5 hours in Village, and then I was like, I can't do it anymore. But I did
Yeah.
play that originally when it was just called Kitchen,
Yes,
and it
there
was
was the
VR.
VR. Yeah, the VR
Um,
demo.
yeah, so I was at an event, I think it was EGX, and they had the PlayStation VR headset, and they gave me a DualShock and said, "Oh, can you hold this behind your back?" So I was sitting in this chair with this DualShock behind my back, and then they turn on the headset, and then the headset starts, and you're just sitting in this room, and you can hear like these chains like in the background, and then someone walking, and I'm there, and I can't let go of this controller because your hands are tied behind your back, and you feel like your
Mhm.
hands are tied behind your back. And I remember just that was the most afraid I've ever been in my entire life. I was like, this is so scary. I was so close to tears. I was that scared. I had to ask them to take the headset off. I was like, "Can you please take this off? I'm too scared." I felt like such a baby, but I was like, I can't.
See,
um,
because there's rumors that they are, because obviously Capcom will bleed blood from a stone with Resident Evil, and there's rumors that they're going to make a new version of the original. They're going to remake.
yeah,
I heard that, and I'll be interested to see if they, because I think that would be really interesting to play a remake in first person.
yeah. I was going to say if they make it
Hmm.
like Village in first person and stuff like that, then yeah, fair play. But if they make it as an action game like the remake of Resident Evil 2, no,
Hmm. Yeah, I just don't know
um,
if it would work.
no, it wouldn't.
I mean, I'd like to think they'd give you the option like they have with Resident Evil 9, where you can choose what you want to do. Like if you want to play first person, you want to play third. I mean, how are you guys playing RE9?
Well, for me, it's pretty obvious because I suffer major motion sickness in first person, so I'm
You're playing third.
straight third person. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm third person as well.
Yeah, I kind of switched. I kind of switched just to see what it was like through the game. I played most of it third person because I kind of like to see my character in Resident Evil
Yeah.
games. But because obviously what they said was with development is that the intent is to play Grace first person and Leon third. That's the
yeah,
kind of default that they want you to do to get the most out of the story. And you can kind of tell because obviously you've got the I kind of don't want to ruin it for for anybody who hasn't played it, and because it explains who they are later on. You've got the horror section with Grace at the beginning. It is very much. It does feel very much like Resident Evil 7. Like it's got that kind of beat, story beat in it. And then you've obviously got Resident Evil 4 with Leon. So
yeah,
it is quite interesting to see if they did remake one again, which I don't think they do. I'd rather see Code Veronica get remade. Personally, I think that's probably worth another look. Code Veronica, because
Hmm.
I don't think Code
yeah.
Veronica was played by enough people, and it's kind of like it
I
sits in this
I do want to
strange
get
place.
into Code Veronica, but I don't think we've got time tonight to properly go into it. But I do
Yeah,
want to do a proper talk about it. So I'd probably want to cover that when we cover that and 4. I want to cover those two together, I think.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Um, but yes, I agree. Code Veronica should absolutely get a remake because it's really hard to play that game. I tried playing it again recently on the PS5 because there's
Hmm.
the version on PS4 that you can play on it, and it's really hard to get into that game now. Harder than it was for me to play Resident Evil 2 or Director's Cut again recently.
Hmm.
And I really want to play that again, but I want to play it in a way that is much more user friendly to start playing because it's
Hmm.
not like playing that now. It's really difficult because it kind of it does have the tank controls, but they're a bit awkward with the
Hmm.
analog stick. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I just didn't enjoy playing it like that at all. Like I said, when I play classic on remake, That's fine for me. Because I can switch to the D-pad and it's great. But you can't do that in Code Veronica. You have to play
So
with the stick.
I wonder
and
now,
roll.
if they announce the remake tomorrow or something like that, what would you wish for? How close would it be to the original?
I wanted to keep the story beats of the original intact. I don't want them to change a thing. I would like them to recast Steve.
Not a bad
Because I
idea.
really don't like his voice actor.
Hmm.
It's Steve, isn't it? The
It's
male
Steve,
character.
In Code Veronica,
Yeah. I hate his voice actor. I don't know him, but I hate the voice that he portrays. It makes him sound like he's 12.
He's an anime character. Yeah, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I'd like that character to be a bit better, like more fleshed out than he is, because I really don't like him. But I want the story beats the same. I don't want them to cut anything from it. I want them to keep the. I just want to see the gameplay sort of shifted to that over-the-shoulder third-person view, but keeping it the same game. Literally, just shift the camera and give me modern controls, and that's all I want from it. If they change it up drastically, like the Resident Evil 3 remake or even the 2 remakes, massively different, then yeah, I wouldn't be too happy. Because like Resident Evil 4 they stick really closely to Resident Evil 4 with the Resident Evil 4 remake. They add a lot, but it's still fundamentally the same game as Resident Evil 4. But yeah, I really would like them to just remake Code Veronica, but the same game, just change the camera and change the controls. That is it. And change Steve. What about you guys?
I mean, you would get a complete visual overhaul. Because I think, strangely, I think Code Veronica for me is the one that probably looks the most dated in a strange way.
Well, yeah, because it uses it's like it's all polygons,
Yeah.
right? There's no pre-rendered stuff. It's
Yeah.
all 3D. So
and it kind of feels the more so I think to like see that in, because I love the RE engine. I think it's you can get so much out of it, and it keeps getting better. Do you know what I mean? If you look at Resident Evil 7 to what 9 looks like, or even like 2 remake, stunning. Like, it's incredible.
it's a great engine. It's so scalable as well.
Yeah. So I think to even see, because I think you can add a lot of atmosphere that was kind of missing from Code Veronica. Because that's what I think with Code Veronica. That's kind of why it's kind of probably one of my least favorites, is because it's because it feels so bland. If the atmosphere is a bit bland for me. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's because of the visuals.
That is the visual thing. This is what I noticed when I was playing it again recently, is that because everything is these low polygon models, like all of them are really low polygon, and it just looks rough. It doesn't even look like a good PS2 game. It just looks, and I think it's one of those games on the Dreamcast that has aged, because there's a lot of Dreamcast games that you look at and you go, wow, that has not aged. That looks incredible. But Code Veronica and say Sonic Adventure, like, they look aged now. They have definitely aged.
I think it's
absolutely make sure to play it again before the next.
100%.
Resident Evil talk,
yeah, absolutely. I'm going to try and complete it before the next time we talk, because I haven't completed it since the Dreamcast. So I would like to give that another run through.
Yeah, because I do agree. I think it's it's a game that definitely deserves to be discussed at length, with a proper deep dive.
Yeah.
So I think I do want to play it through properly, and I don't want to have like this, because like tonight, obviously we've done like a lot of rose tinted look at it, and I think it's probably because our audience is so familiar with it as well. You don't need to go into the nuance of like, oh, I can remember where that bit is here and that bit is there. But I think with Code Veronica being less, have less notoriety, that I think it kind of, I'd like to have a good like deep dive conversation about it.
Yeah, maybe I'd do Resident Evil Code Veronica on its own, and then do Resident Evil 4 on its own, and then do 5 and 6 together, because I don't really want to talk about 6 very much. But yes, that's a topic for another episode, the Resident Evil 6. Oof. But yeah, I think that's probably where we are with this. I think we've probably covered quite a good amount of stuff here. We've spoken about Requiem as well, which I wanted to do, which is great. I will say this though, that Requiem has rocketed up in my Resident Evil rankings after finishing it. Yeah.
It's interesting.
I
don't know. I don't know
it.
where to put it. I loved it. Don't get us wrong. I absolutely loved it. I'm going to play it at least another twice before I decide where it is.
Yeah, I will say this though. This isn't a spoiler, Thomas, so don't worry.
Good.
It's very much a sequel to the remake trilogy, rather than it is.
I heard that. Yeah.
7 and
I'd agree with that.
And for me, that's fine.
I think that's because, like what we said earlier on, reused assets. I think that helps. Yeah. And there's definitely beats in it that you've literally just played. Yeah. Which is, if you're a Resident Evil fan, see, I think if you're a casual fan, you go, oh well, I'm just playing. Like, why am I back here again? Yeah. But if you're a Resident Evil fan who loves the lore and who loves being in those environments, to go back to those and see them in a slightly different way is just like, it's just geek fuel, isn't it?
Yeah, and I definitely want Leon's new leather jacket. I was going to say that. I also had a look at his watch that he's wearing, and I was like, I might try and buy that. And then I looked and I was like, I'm not going to buy that watch.
That watch looks very fancy.
It's
Hamilton, isn't it? It's beautiful.
But yes, I mean, I heard somebody like jokingly say, like, so they've made tie-ins with Porsche and that watch manufacturer Hamilton. Yeah. And it's like, because those brands clearly speak to the diehard Resident Evil fan.
By the way, I still have to make one shout out here. You guys know Alex Anil?
No.
He wrote the book on Resident Evil, Itchy Tasty.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, CVX. Yeah.
Exactly.
I do know him. Yeah.
Mr. Daniel Crisis. Mr. Daniel Crisis Sucks himself.
Yeah, because I watch the YouTuber called the Sphere Hunter. She's excellent, and she talks about the Itchy Tasty book quite a bit.
It's a great book, and the thing is, his place in Tokyo is basically a museum of Resident Evil. He has every version in every from every region, every release. That's one hell of a collection.
Yeah,
I've
probably biggest fan out there.
I think Jake was saying that as well, actually. Yeah. It's he's great. I've listened to him a lot when he's been on the 8-4 Play podcast. And he definitely knows his Resident Evil more than probably even more than you, Phil. He knows.
I don't know. It's strange. I don't have an exciting encyclopedic, probably because you can tell. Yeah, I don't have an exciting encyclopedic knowledge of Resident Evil. It's just something that I just love, and I like the fact that there's so many. I like collecting it because there's so many different variants. Do you know what I mean? And it's because if all of them, even like the covers, if all the covers were the same, I wouldn't be bothered. But I love the fact that Resident Evil 2 in America the cover art's completely different.
I love the American cover art for Resident Evil.
I think I prefer it.
American cover art. I think that a lot of their cover art's absolute trash. But Resident Evil 2's amazing. But Biohazard 3 has such great box art though. So good. In Japan, I mean, hence why. Biohazard. I will say this though: I'm that much of a Resident Evil 2 fan that my son is called Leon.
Oh wow, that's commitment.
And he knows that as well. I've said you are named after my favorite character from Resident Evil, and And he's like, "Isn't that a bit narcissistic because you look like him?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But my son looks like me, so he looks like Leon, so it's great. But he just looks like
Cool.
teenage Leon rather than, the one who's like my age in Resident Evil Requiem. But yeah,
All right.
I absolutely love talking Resident Evil, so I can't wait to talk about it more. I will have to complete Resident Evil 7 if I ever want to talk about it, though. So I will have to overcome my fears with that.
How far did you get in it?
Like I say, I played about 2.5 hours. I didn't get very far. I'm yeah. Yeah, I just remember being in the house and there was like noise coming from behind a locked door, and then I saw something run past like a silhouette go by, and then I turned it off, and I was like, I can't deal with that.
I tell you what I loved about the launch of Resident Evil 7 is the demo kept getting updated with more to do. Did you guys know that?
No.
No.
So if you downloaded it the first time, you got like a small scenario, but then they ran updates on it and it would unlock a bit more.
Oh, cool.
And you could do extra things. It was it was really, really cool. And I think it was because it was such a new version to do Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Even though, like, like as I said before, like it has a lot of the same beats as the original Resident Evil. But it was obviously a first-person Resident Evil was a very different way to look at the series and have a brand new character and things. Because and they updated it so you could get like, I think you could eventually go down into the basement that you couldn't do when you first downloaded it. So that was quite cool.
That is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to call it there. So Thomas, thank you very much.
It was a pleasure being here.
Is there anything you want to promote or anything before we get out of here?
Oh, well, I mean, of course, if you want to find me online, you can find me on Blue Sky at Tapir Fortuna. And if you hear this podcast in Germany and speak German, you can buy the new issue of M Games, which is the magazine I'm writing for. I wrote a lot of pages in that one, and you might quite enjoy it.
Excellent.
Cool.
Phil, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything
Been a
your
pleasure.
end?
No, not really. I'm just glad that it's been nice to podcast again. I know that this has been a proper meandering podcast. Hopefully be saved slightly in the edit.
Well, that's the fun, isn't it?
But yeah, it's been really nice to podcast, and you might hear Maximum Power Up come back soon. I am tempted to bring the podcast back, so keep your eyes and ears peeled for that.
Cool. And thank you everyone for listening, and we will catch you next time.